What's up, everybody? How are we doing? Warm hello. Hello. It's Saturday. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm Big Cheds. Saturday, 2/22/2025. I'm glad you decided to spend a little bit of your precious time on Earth here with me, and we're going to do a little bit of a market update. We're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I'll try to cover all your brilliant questions, your altcoin requests. I've got some tweets that I want to discuss. And of course, this is going to be part of the quick market update series on my YouTube, Cheds Trading. I teach professional TA, classical charting, Japanese candlestick theory. I try to take the complicated, I try to take the professional and make it a little bit more simple for you. So I published 3 books. I got a 4th book coming out pretty soon, The Trading Journal, Trading Wisdom Part 2. And I'm making my 3rd book free, the Trading Quotes book, right? I've just started a brand new playlist. And I've got weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4 already, along with the introduction. And that's a heavy on trading psychology playlist. So if that's something you're into, I'd recommend you check that out. If you'd like to understand how I set up my chart, the moving averages, how you should be interpreting volume, how do you find chart setups, you really want to start with the Masterclass tutorial analysis playlist. This will help you out a lot. And these streams are 3 days a week, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. If you're looking for a more in-depth full market report, I do that at Bitcoin Live every Wednesday and Sunday night. I've been doing that for more than almost 7 years. And when you sign up, you get access to the entire team's work. So that's my opening here. I'm really glad you folks are here on a Saturday. We'll see how this stream goes. We'll see how long it goes. I'd really like your participation. I'd love to hear from you, what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Maybe some of your questions, and think about, while I'm talking here, and I'll go through my stuff first, and we'll let the room fill up, build up. Think about, some of the things you'd like to ask me. If you come, especially if you come to these videos, and I keep missing your question, this would be a great opportunity for you to try. Think about something you're struggling with as a trader, a problem you keep running into, and I'll see if I can help you out with that. No guarantee, but I'll try my best. So I'll go through the chart quickly, briefly, and then we'll do my tweets. So we're looking at Bitcoin. No real change. We've had a little bit of volatility. What's notable here is the Bollingers are super tight. We've been sideways now, since November, and that's reflected now with the Bollinger Bands being this tight. The Bollinger Bands are reflective of volatility. When there's volatility, they widen, and you get these pinches, these squeezes when it's sideways for a while, and that's often a precursor to a big move. And you have to go back. So I have a tweet on that in here somewhere. Boom. Tightest Bollinger Bands since August of 2023. Right, here's our pinch. I'm going back to August of 2023 here, and it was really tight, just sideways. We had a small move down, that's fine, and continued higher shortly thereafter. This is the Bollinger Band with indicator, and you can see it's the tightest Bollinger Bands, since that period in time. So it just it doesn't tell us really that much more than we already know, because we know we're sideways. We know we've been grinding higher. We understand how beautiful the high time frame trend is. The weekly chart is quite beautiful. I know some people want to call top. That's fine. They can do that. They're early. At this point, but it's a really nice uptrend, holding EMA 8, holding these above all these moving averages, holding range lows, and it's a really simple. It should be a really simple calculus for you as a student of classical charting, as a disciplined trader. It's an uptrend. Price above a rising MA 200 is an uptrend, and price holding support in an uptrend. And you want to be very simply bullish as long as 90K zone holds. Again, if that fails, I think we're going to like low 70s for sure. But what's interesting on Bitcoin, and I'll get to a little bit of the low time frame stuff. I guess I'll do Bitcoin first. Here we go. So look, I just don't understand betting against this trend. Looking at Bitcoin on the 3-day chart, it's beautiful, right? Beautiful 3-day chart. It's a nice in between daily and weekly. It's a really beautiful consolidating trend. I can't imagine wanting to bet against this trend, right? And it puts things into perspective for you. This is, if you look at the large price range here, the consolidation range and the advancement out of the range, and how we've been consolidating here, we've held all these gains. Like, it's just a very nice, neat, and orderly bullish consolidation here. I mean, I think it's illustrated really nicely here in the 3-day chart. So I just can't. I was looking at this last night, and it's like, man, I can't. I don't understand why people are really bearish at this point, especially before support breaks. I mean, bulls have stepped in and declared demand time and time again at the bottom of this range, and you have the environment of price with an uptrend. You want to just go with the trend. So, 3-day chart. So we had a lot of craziness going on with the hack yesterday, and actually that hack came out while I was doing my YouTube. My first instinct was whatever, right? Because people say stuff, and I don't care about really so much news. I want to see if what the price reaction was, and it wasn't really that much of a price reaction, which is nice to see. We did have a little bit of volatility, and you can see it here in the 4-hour. So we were all the way up to about 98.5. We had seen some attempt for bulls to for the price to rejoin the wider trend, and make a move towards 1 of 5K range roughly. And then we just poked our head up, and then the exchange news and a lot of fear and panic in the market. And this is something you want to keep in mind, right? When you have that, okay, big move down, I start to really look when I saw in the 4-hour this big red candle, and I saw these two big volume candles. I put out a tweet in here somewhere, and I basically said, decent volume here. I saw this. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start looking for a short-term bottom because you're dropping back into support. Very decent chance for a higher low here. And like that's usually an overreaction type of move. This big red candle against the trend, and volume here too. Volume was coming in, and you could drop down to the 1-hour and you could see it as well. So this is like very close to the bottom there, right around 95.3. And then we started to get some a decent follow-up on that. If I have the follow-up tweet, maybe I do or maybe I don't, but we have the follow-up tweet to that, where here we go. Here's our follow-up. We had the bullish harami. It's a small candle body inside the mother bar, the prior candle, and some volume on it. So there you go. This essentially was very near the bottom of that move. And it's one of those things where, of course, we'll see what happens. And my feelings on the trend. I think it will continue higher until proven otherwise. I'm giving edge to the bulls. But it's this thing where you can't only love Bitcoin when it's green. And you have to look for these dips in uptrends as opportunities. I think you should look for, for dips in uptrends as opportunities, moves against the broader trend. And so you can't only love Bitcoin when it's red, and when it's green, rather. It needs these consolidations to continue higher. What else we have? So what was interesting, if you look at this was a question of, this is why I was tweeting out 4-hour, and I put out a bunch of 4-hour tweets as this was happening. Not only Bitcoin, I was looking at uranium ETF. I did a couple broader equity markets for fun, but I was like, here you go, BNB, right? Clean 4H throwback, and where's BNB? Right. So look at that beautiful response already, right? It's a trading opportunity. It's, hey guys, look, we have a drop back to a demand zone in the 4H. You can here's a trade idea where you can clearly define your risk, and it's an environment where there's a lot of panic, which I like. And I don't like the fact, I don't like the fact that people are panicking. I'm not like a monster, but in the sense that panic leads to opportunity, right? And so I was looking for trades. You saw me, and I'm putting out some ideas for you. I'm like, here you go, 4H throwback at BNB, and very nice response already. So you did really well off of that. Let's see if there's any of these other ones did okay. XRP, 4H throwback right to the 250 range. This is a very clean setup. You'd say, oh, it's a double top. Okay, but it's got to break down first. Most double tops fail, right? And you had a very clean drop back to a clear support resistant flip level. And how do we do? Okay bounce, but some initial price response off of that level to target for a trade. Doge identified a deep drop. And you can use, what was nice about this, and when I put the tweet out, you have these wicks that you can use to manage your risk. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Is that you can use them to structure a long thesis. So you could use like a loss and a recapture for a spring, like right here, and you got that. It's a testing the rate loss, and boom, you can take a long and a recapture of of 24 cents, and you're already up a little bit on that. It's certainly not out of the woods, and if we're looking at this time frame, and the 4H, of course, is a downtrend. Daily chart's a little bit different. It's testing the MA200. it has some work to do, and I've seen a lot of bullish coverage on this. It has a little bit of work to do, but that was just another potential 4H look, and then here we go, right? When you see this, I'm letting you know, hey, we've had a little volatility, and there's panic, which might mean there's a little bit of opportunity out there. So I just kind of walked you through what my thinking was at that time when we had this 4H candle, and then I noticed the volume, and it moved very quickly in a short period of time. That's often leading to kind of an overextension. So that's just some of the tweets were. And then this is important. So why was I on the 4-hour in classical charting? And folks, get your questions ready. Let me know what you think in the chat room. There's about almost 100 of you, and only just a few of you are talking. I want to hear what you have to think. Give me some good questions. Try to stump me. Give me your best. So the rule of thumb is after large price moves. So in classical charting, when do you go to lower time frame? Well, after volatility and when price is at a key level is when you want to be dropping to lower time frame. That's the rule of thumb. That's classical charting 101. So this is important to understand. I think people get a little bit caught up, and when the price is in sideways range without volatility, that's not when you switch to low time frame. But we had volatility in the sideways channel, certainly in reaction to a very quick move. And then again, the fact that sentiment helped out a little bit there. There was some panic sentiment. So I talked about this tweet. I talked about this tweet, can only Bitcoin when it's green. And this is interesting. So this is a little bit, and we'll get into Ethereum next. I'll do Solana, and then I'll take your questions. But this is interesting, right? So, everyone's thinking, oh, the market's collapsing. Bitcoin's collapsing because of this hack. Okay, but was the SPX also collapsing? This is kind of me being a little bit sarcastic, but the S&P did drop almost 2%, right? 1.7%. Oh, it dropped on news of the Bybit ETH hack. Or all risk markets took a little haircut today, and BTC likely continues higher. Why does it likely continue higher? This is a trend. 3-day trend, daily trend, weekly trend. If you're going to be a bear on Bitcoin, you have to drop to really low time frame, because every time frame, I'd say every time frame above 4 hour, 4 hours mixed, it's sideways. There's no trend, but everything above 4 hours bullish. Everything, right? And people want. If anybody's telling you, oh, the weekly's bearish, I mean, they literally don't know what they're talking about. So, likely continues higher because that's the trend. So that's the whole point. We want to try to put things into perspective. This is me saying, okay, SPX dropped, but everything drops. So Bitcoin, don't overreact. This is me saying essentially don't overreact to this exchange news. Okay. What's Ethereum doing? It's kind of not much of anything. I mean, it's boring here. Daily chart sideways. Again, I'd like to see it, flip and hold 2,700. We're waiting to see if that happens. It's an underperformer to Bitcoin. Bollingers are pinching here. So maybe we see some type of a move out of this pinch on Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We shall see. And Solana, it has held so far at the last level that it needs to hold before the weekly rolls over, which is around 160, 165. We'll clean it up and draw it again. That's a level to watch. I don't have much of a overall change in this chart, but I do think you're going to want to risk off if it's unable to hold at 160. So what is up? Good to see my man Khalid. Indie Rock Crypto, as always. Martwan, Matt, or M. Gross, Kurt, Caleb. Zanina, Matej, good to see you guys. Thank you for hanging out here with me and spending a little bit of time. So let's see what we got in the chat room. Let's see what you folks came up with, and I'll see if I can add some value. So, Matej, did you trade this sideways? I didn't trade this sideways. No, I did not trade the sideways, but I did illustrate a couple good altcoin setups that you could have taken, especially BNB. They didn't all work out they all are essentially up from those lows. Some have stronger responses than others, but I actually did not trade the chop yesterday because I'm allocated in Bitcoin. I have what I want. I have my trading positions as well, and I'm just going to wait for range low test or even a break of range peak to kind of do something. I'm going to let this all play out here because it's still choppy range in the daily channel for me. Indy says he's not giving up on Ethereum. All right. Afternoon to you too as well. Digital Trip. So M. Gross says, do you pay attention to any long-term trend lines in RSI? No, but let's look. I mean, you can do Classical charting will allow you to use like head and shoulders on, I don't know why this is still there. Bollinger Band width. It should have been removed. And what is it? Let's get rid of what is going on here. That's Bollinger Band width. Hold on. What is going on? Trading View. I added a couple indicators because I was testing some. I was showing you folks some things. So I don't want that. I don't want that. And the OBV is weird. It doesn't always load. There we go. So let's go to the daily. Let's go to Bitcoin. Okay. And the question is, do I look at long-term trend lines? Well, you can actually use like head and shoulders on like RSI and OBV and stuff, but it's just not as good as with price. And again, these oscillators should only be used if you're kind of not sure about the price. And generally, if you're not sure, the answer is to do nothing, right? That's your general. That should be your posture, so to speak. But M. Gross said, do you pay attention to long-term trend lines in RSI? For example, BTC seems to have a ceiling, slightly downward sloping around 90 that mark the top. Well, that's it, but RSI is a bounded oscillator, right? It's got a fixed limit. It can really, theoretically, only go to 100. So you want to be really careful with that. I mean, you can draw this trend line, but I don't know what it really does for you, right? You could say, here's the problem. You could draw this trend line, and you'd say, I'm convincing myself that the trend is rolling over. But look, bulls have held support until this doesn't really do anything for you because no matter what, you should be bullish as long as price holds support. It's an uptrend. It's a really strong uptrend. Boring. Skip my question. Unsubscribed. Sideducker says, "Will Pokemon reprint?" That's funny. Yeah, I'm not into Pokemon, brother. Do I think Pokemon cards are at the top? Yeah, I don't know much about Pokemon, but. You can do this, and you can look for maybe a break of that trend line for suggesting to continue with the trend. You want to be really careful with the RSI because you actually have a bullish divergence here. It's a little bit mild, but you've got flat lows in the RSI versus higher lows in price. That's a bullish divergence, right? And again, we're doing body to body. So you want to be careful drawing. RSI is a tool where especially newer traders, or I'm not saying you are not a newer trader, but they're looking for a silver bullet, and they kind of use RSI, to. He said it's in the 1 month. They use RSI to kind of be their magic bullet, but really the price has to lead. So monthly RSI? Okay. I mean, what am I supposed to do with this? Drawing this, I don't know what the monthly RSI tells me. It's in buy signal territory. I mean, price quote unquote overbought is bullish. You want, when the price is above 70, it's bullish and trends tend to continue. So there's, here in the quote unquote the monthly, for Bitcoin, there's absolutely nothing that the RSI is doing that's worrying me, even with a minor divergence, because it's going to give you a bullish divergence first, a lower low, and you're going to use RSI for hidden divergence and not regular. There's nothing that really does much here for me, okay? And it's also 14 period. You don't really want to be drawing from this peak in April to 2025. That's 48 bars or whatever amount of time that is. So most and just maybe it's a stylistic difference, but if you're going to use RSI for divergence, ideally you're using it within 14 bars. It's a very local type of thing. You don't want to be drawing from this prior peak because things are completely reset and it's a bounded oscillator. I just think really you shouldn't be using RSI that way, and you're actually better off not using RSI at all, in my opinion, until you really get comfortable and you know what you're doing. All right, let's see. Let's go. There's some questions here. Good questions. Couple requests. I'll get to those in a minute. Let's see. Thank you, Chad. God bless you. Hey, God bless you. Sidekicker says, here's a question that will stump you. With the hack of Bybit, do you think inflated egg prices? Okay, it's still a Pokemon. I don't know, brother. I don't know. My friend actually collected a whole bunch of Pokemon cards for his kids, and now it's like worth the collection's like $500,000. So I don't know. Rion said, you discussed it yesterday. These are just things in a chart. You have to be disassociated from it. Absolutely true. Let the market kind of sort it out for you, and we'll tell you if the news matters. I mean, we can have our idea of what we think it will mean, but you have to. I think you need to stay disciplined to the trend, identify the trend, DMA 200, price versus support, and kind of go from there. Coin and Hood. Okay, well, a couple of requests. I'll get to this in a minute. Let me just see. What are your moving averages? So, Caleb, that's explained in the Masterclass tutorial. It's a great question. I have the 8 and the 31 EMA, the green and the yellow. EMA means exponential moving average. More price. It's more price gives more weight to the most recent candle. So 8 EMA means the most recent candle has more price weighting than the 8th candle. So 834, and then for simple, which is SMA, equally weighted, I use the MA20, which is part of the Bollinger Bands. MA50 is my kind of mid-channel level, and of course the trend in classical charting is the MA200. I do not believe you should be using a 200 EMA. It makes no sense. I know I do have some disagreements with some of my colleagues, even at Bitcoin Live, I use 200 EMA. It doesn't make sense to me because the whole point is you'd like the interaction with the longer-term moving average to be more meaningful. So it makes more sense for me to be SMA. So, my general rule, and this is how I teach it, this is how I trade, again, Masterclass tutorials, is short-term moving averages are EMA and longer-term moving averages can be SMA. That was a great question. Let's go on. Is Cheds short for cheddar? Yeah, sort of. When Cheds comes from when I was a younger man. I still feel I'm pretty young. I'm in my 40s, but when I was out of high school, I was the only one of my friends with a serious job. I had a really good job, and I made pretty good money for that age. I didn't save anything, but I was Cheds because I paid for everything for all my crew. I took them to hotels, took them on vacation, paid for dinner. I was Cheds. I was the guy with the money, so that's where Cheds comes from. All right. Let's see. So, hey, Cheds. Hey, DB. Thanks for this, brother. Thank you. You said you don't hold alt trades overnight on the previous stream. I sure will. I will certainly if I'm in profit, right? And I've already taken some profit and I feel comfortable with my position. The point I said was that I don't want to let them. What I said was, and if I said that I misspoke, I don't want them to own me. I don't want them to own my sleep. So I'll definitely hold things overnight with a stop loss, and it's easier to hold them overnight if I've successfully guessed the direction of the trade. For example, if I had taken if I played this 4H, the 4H BNB play I put out for you, and I could very much sleep overnight with a stop loss around 650 or something and locking in a bunch of my profit from that 630 entry. So it's already kind of cleared the most recent overhead, and this is a nice little setup here. So something like this you could hold. So it kind of depends. But the point I want to make is I don't want to let my trades own me in that. I'm tempted to wake up and check my phone, because you need sleep to function in life and to function to trade. It's important. When you're sleeping, your brain is processing things. You need that REM sleep to kind of deal with the emotions of the day, strip away the emotions, and kind of feed it into the biographical information. Sleep and then slow wave sleep, clean out your brain. You need sleep, right? So you need sleep. It's important. Let's do a couple requests, and then we'll go from there. So I saw Indy had a couple requests. Paul, he said not great charts, but I do like AMP. Okay, I think that's a Coinbase one, right? Yep. Oh, it's on Binance too. Let's see here. Oh, it's terrible. But why like it? What is it? I like it, right? This isn't much going on. There's no real trend here. I don't like a chart like this. It's pretty sloppy. It's pretty weak. Basically sideways for the last couple of years. You can do way, way, way better. Indy, I don't like that one. Let's see here. Someone had asked me, Coin and Hood. I know Hood has been on fire, right? Robinhood. Take a look at Hood. Robinhood market in the NASDAQ, $50. A little dropped 8%, but it's right back to EMA 34. It's a nice looking trend. A little bit of a bearish move here, but it's right back to support. It got support here. I think it's got a really nice potential setup here if it does drop a little bit lower to the low 40s. But you can look back and see the progression of this trend is quite nice. Nice rounding base, break from that, deep throwback or a range low sweep and recapture. Long trigger, break of the range peak here. Throw back and continue. And so what this shows you, this is a steady consolidating uptrend. So you're never going to I don't think you ever want to chase something like this, even though how strong it is. Because you see this has had a stair-stepping, right, and a progression of throwbacks or bullish retests. So I think you can target 42, 43, or maybe even this local level as well. This is setting up to want to buy a dip in an uptrend, right? So starting to dip, did not hold here in the initial gap up the window, so it closed the window, right? And I think you want to start to look maybe 48 and then 43. It's a very nice looking chart. I don't really see any warning signs. I like it quite a bit. If it does roll over and starts to lose 42, 43, that would suggest a weakening of the longer term trend. Okay. Ban USDT. Anything to comment? Let's take a look. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're doing well. Hit like, hit subscribe. Let's see. I don't think I've heard of this one. Banano? Comedian? What are we doing, folks? What are these tickers that we're that we're talking about? Is there any volume? These are different too. I don't know which one are you referring to? Is it comedian? I'm not sure. This one, there's not much of a chart. There's no real history. So I don't really have much to comment on for you. Did Coinbase lose weekly support is the question. Well, did it? Let's take a look. By the way, how many of you have already watched the Trading Quotes playlist? Let me know in the chat. I love it. It's gonna be a great playlist. I'm really proud of it. I think it's gonna be wonderful. It has a really nice start to that. I love creating videos. I love creating free content. So what was the question? Did it lose the weekly support? Okay. I mean, you would have certainly wanted to see it hold a little bit higher, but I mean, it's just at MA50 in the weekly. You still have very much a nicely defined uptrend. You have a rising demand trend. And I'd still very much favor bulls. Very much would favor bulls. I'm going to drop to the daily and take a look, throwing back to the MA200. So maybe, where would you look? Maybe a little bit lower? Like if it gaps up, if it like gapped down maybe on Monday, I would definitely take a look at it around like the 215, 220 range. I'm still inclined to buy the dip in this trend. It's a nice grinding higher trend. I still like the Coinbase chart. So, Indy says, I like the fundamentals. What are you talking about? Indy, you've been with me too long. What do you mean? Fundamentals don't exist. You know, that's just talk. That's just things people say to make themselves feel better about holding down trends, right? Why is LTC so bearish? I don't know that it's that bearish. It's just not super bullish. I don't think LTC is bearish. It's just a sideways chart. I think you can see on the weekly time frame that it is attempting to stair step. It is attempting to break out of this range of local resistance, circa 140. I think you can take a long on a 140 break, but I generally would avoid playing it in the middle of the range while it consolidates. I know a lot of people are loving. I've seen a bunch of tweets talking about this being the next that, and look at compression, and it's a beautiful chart. For me, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's a bearish chart, but I'm not quite ready to call it bullish yet, Andrian, okay? Let's see. I've watched a lot of your content. It's great. Thank you, Caleb. Thanks, man. Ondo, we'll take a little look at Ondo USD, and it's another one that is on Coinbase. All right, Ondo Finance. Actually had it in my list already from a Bitcoin Live member. All right, yeah, really want to see it hold here around 110 range. I wouldn't call it a powerful trend, but so far it's still generally would favor bulls. There's a bit of distribution in here though, and I don't need the OBV because I can tell, look at all this volume. I can just take a blind guess that the OBV is going to be kind of doing that. Let's take a look, see if I'm right. Yep, there it is. So you can see my whole point earlier when I said like I don't use the OBV or RSI anymore. You can see it in the price I just showed you. You can just kind of look at the volume. So there's some distribution going on here, and that does concern me. But it still slightly favors bulls, and I would say maybe below $1, I would pare back my risk, and I would start to be careful. So you want to see that hold above $1. I'll do one more. We're coming up in 30 minutes. I don't like to go more than 30 minutes. These are supposed to be quick market updates. And yeah, for the folks who are here, thanks for coming. You are smart to keep showing up to these streams. I like to think that I'm putting out some nice, good content. And you're helping me because I have fun. I have fun hanging out with you. Okay, I'll check the Peter Brandt question because that's my guy. So Curve, yeah, no good. What are we doing with Curve? Hopefully with Curve you sold when it didn't hold around 75 cents. Bollinger Pinch, essentially, you can call it a bear pennant. Now, likely will roll over and test lower. I do not like Curve. I'd rather be a bear than a bull. I think it's probably going lower, so I don't like Curve. And it had the beautiful move out of the bottom and attempted flip of 75, inability to hold. So that's a big time momentum failure. Look at the weekly chart. Look at that falling DMA 200. I would be careful. I do not like Curve. And if you're a bull, I think you should be very careful. What was the question about my good buddy Peter Brandt? It says, let's see. Peter Brandt is hinting as a possible severe downtrend for move based on a symmetrical. Okay. You could, sure, but like bulls are holding support. And I feel free. Like I have no problem ever disagreeing with even like a mentor of mine, Peter Brandt, or any of my colleagues who are world class at Bitcoin Live. There's been plenty of times in the past where they've gone one way and I've gone the other. And, I think I've done pretty well. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but I have my style, my method. You don't need to guess. Like, why are we guessing? We don't need to like guess about, just watch support. It's holding support. It's all premature. I just showed you earlier. Look at this 3-day chart. It's gorgeous. I cannot imagine betting against this trend. It's a beautiful bullish uptrend. It's kind of my thoughts on that. This is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube. I teach professional technical analysis. I did CMT1. I've read the textbooks. I'm trying to teach it to you for free. I'm trying to take the professional and make it a little bit more simple and easier to use. I've published 3 books. I got my 4th book coming out, The Trading Journal. That will be coming out within a couple months, hopefully. It's going to be a wonderful project. It's Trading Wisdom Part 2. It teaches you how to fill out a trading journal, how to manage emotions, how to find setups, what the stop losses are. And because of that, I'm taking my 3rd book, Trading Quotes, which is an awesome book too. I'm doing the whole thing for free. So I'm reading, one chapter at a time. And I really think you folks will like this, especially if you're into, trading psychology. Somebody asked me, what are my moving averages, how I set up the chart, how to, interpret volume. That's where you're gonna want to watch the Masterclass playlist. You'll love it. Watch these other quick market updates. This will go into that playlist. I have some interviews coming out soon. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter, of course, and Bitcoin Live, where I do a twice a week full market report with the best team in the world that studies crypto. I've got free reports out there, so you can see what those are like as well. But in the meantime, soak up what I have. Most of what I do is free. I hope you're enjoying it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of, and we'll keep it rolling. I'm going to do another stream on Tuesday. I do these Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. And, rest of the time, catch me on Twitter, of course. So, folks, thank you for hanging out. A lot of great questions today. I hope you all are doing well. And I will talk to you soon. Big Cheds out. Peace out, folks. Be well. Thank you.